What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, May 2nd, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 0100 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from here in the US and in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. So sorry for the late update. So last night we had a massive amount of US nuclear war command and control planes in the air at the same time. And we also had a US presidential doomsday plane in the air as well. So what you're looking at here are three Boeing E-6B Mercuries. One was looping over the Ozarks, one was looping over the Gulf of Mexico, and one was looping off the coast of California. And when these planes fly in loops like that, it means that they're dropping their trailing wire antenna so they can communicate with our submerged nuclear armed submarines through VLF, very low frequency. And at the same time, there was also a presidential doomsday plane in the air heading towards Indiana, and it ended up landing at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So our nuclear forces are still on high alert since the culinary night. I've been speaking with my radio expert friend slash consultant. We've agreed that since the culinary night, our nuclear forces are still on very high alert. So something big could be going down any day now. We could see Ukraine take down the Crimean Bridge potentially and launch a massive strike on Crimea. We could see Russia and Belarus attack the Baltic countries. We could see Russia gain a massive amount of territory in eastern Ukraine when they start their offensive, which is going to be any day now. And when all this stuff happens, I will be going live. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates and when I go live. And also tonight, we have some sub hunter activity off the coast of Virginia. This is very interesting. We have a P-8 Poseidon that met a KC-135 off the coast of Virginia Beach here off the continental shelf in deep water. Now, P-8 Poseidons are sub-hunter planes, and KC-135s are aerial refuelers. So a sub-hunter plane met an aerial refueler probably about 200 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach, and this P-8 Poseidon was looping here in deep, deep water for hours overnight. Okay, so that is very, very concerning. And also, right now, we have this MQ-4C Triton looping in basically the same area that the P-8 was looping in earlier today, or actually yesterday. We also have a Cobra Ball, which is a missile detection plane flying over Oklahoma. There was also a nuke sniffer plane airborne yesterday as well. We have this unusual aircraft that was spotted near Eglin Air Force Base in the western panhandle of Florida. Look at this thing, guys. And I have no idea what kind of plane this is, but this was spotted by someone, and this is legit. This is not fake. This is real. This was spotted in the western Florida panhandle. Not sure what the heck this thing is, but it's unidentified. Okay, we don't know what kind of plane this is at all. All right, there's no plane in the U.S. military like this. So take a guess. What do you guys think this is? Put it in the comments. I'm curious what you guys can come up with, and I'm going to try to figure out what this thing is. I'm going to speak to several people, and we have more riots going on at universities across America. What you're looking at here is video footage coming from UCLA, and we have LAPD riot police getting ready to break up a pro-Hamas encampment in the center of the UCLA campus, and we're now hearing that as many as 60 universities across America have pro-Hamas encampments, okay, in some form. Now, 2 nights ago, we had the New York City Police Department launch an operation against the pro-Hamas supporters in Columbia University. They successfully cleared out an entire building that was literally occupied and barricaded by these pro-Hamas students, supposedly students. We don't know who these people really are, but this is definitely being coordinated with outside forces. This is not organic. This is not just students. Okay, this is all being coordinated and planned by our enemies, by maybe Iran, maybe by Hamas themselves or Hezbollah or some of these other groups. Okay, but this is very concerning, guys. As many as 60 universities across the country here in America having these issues with all these Hamas supporters. And we have some interesting footage coming from independent journalist by the name of Anthony Cabasa. You can check him out on Twitter. And he flew a drone over the UCLA encampment. And you can actually see here some of these Hamas supporters receiving hand-to-hand combat training in this encampment. Okay, they're teaching these supporters here how to fight. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1 month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1 month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there. Okay. So this is very, very concerning, guys, and it's only going to get worse. Okay, it's not going to get any better. I told you guys when that whole situation happened in New York City, in Columbia University with the NYPD, I told you it was only going to get worse. And sure enough, I was right, as I always am. And what you're looking at here is a new encampment that was set up in Fordham University by Hamas supporters. Absolutely insane, guys. This is spiraling out of control very, very quickly. And here we have some video footage coming out of the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And what you see here are some patriotic students holding up the American flag after some Hamas supporters tried to take it down on the campus. And so they're holding it up off the ground so it doesn't drag on the ground. So at least we do have some patriots left in this country, in our colleges. It's really nice to see. Now, we do have some very, very concerning developments coming out of the Caucasus Mountains in southern Europe. So we have massive riots ongoing in the Republic of Georgia. And what you're looking at here is some video footage of these protesters trying to break into the Georgian parliament building, and the Georgian Ministry of Internal Affairs has convened an emergency meeting tonight. Okay, so this happened tonight in the Republic of Georgia. People there are pissed off because the parliament passed a foreign agents law, which is seen as a way to steer Georgia away from the European Union and is considered to be a pro-Russian and anti-West law. And so people in Georgia are pissed off, and they're seeing this as basically a Russian takeover of their country. Okay, so they are taking to the streets, as you can see here. So we could have another color revolution very, very soon in Georgia, guys. Okay. So over the last 48 hours, the situation in Georgia has been extremely intense. Here we have footage of tear gas being used by the Republic of Georgia security forces trying to disperse the protesters with no success. We had the chairman of the country's largest opposition party, Lavan Kabashvili, being brutally beaten by Georgian security forces yesterday. So very serious situation, guys. And Georgia is critically important for Russia. That's why Russia is trying to gain political control over Georgia now. And they've put in some of their puppets into the government over there. And so this is a very, very serious situation. We could potentially see Russia get involved if these people overthrow the government. We'll have to wait and see how things play out over there, but absolutely massive protests. Look at this, guys. This was earlier yesterday, okay? And from what I'm understanding is these protests and riots are spreading across the entire country here, okay? So I'm going to continue to monitor the situation, and I will update you guys as needed. And Ukraine has already received Western weapons from partners with permission to attack Russian territory deeper and deeper, according to the Latvian foreign minister. And multiple ballistic missile strikes on Odessa occurred yesterday, supposedly targeting NATO weapons shipments from Greece and Romania. Apparently, the Russians hit a giant postal depot in Odessa, which Russian sources are claiming were used by Ukraine to store NATO weapons. And Russia Today, RT, is reporting that F-16s could arrive in Ukraine as soon as this month. And Russian sources citing a representative of the Ukrainian Air Force are claiming that NATO's F-16s have been flying into the western regions of Ukraine from time to time as part of Ukrainian pilot training. Pilots who studied in Romania conducted low-altitude flights and practiced landing at airfields such as Staro Kostiantiniv and Ivano-Frankivsk. The infrastructure for hosting F-16s began to be prepared as early as the beginning of last year, so there will be no problems with this. And yesterday, we heard that Ukraine has been building underground bases for their F-16s. So very interesting. And here we have some video footage that was released by NATO, and it shows this Ukrainian F-16 pilot talking about his training and what it's like to fly the F-16. So let me just play this for you real quick.
It is really a super fun jet to fly. I'm not saying that MiG that I flew before is super boring, but the F-16 is definitely more agile. It easily moves. The moment you think of something, it turns. I felt proud, not only for myself, but only for the rest of the guys, and that we are doing it now. I know how much work has been done to have this opportunity.
It has been updated several times, and as it is Right here, it's a very, very modern aircraft. It's competitive with the best Western fighters, and I'm sure that the Ukrainian Air Force will benefit from that.
The biggest boost here is the motivation to go back and keep fighting with new jets.
We are in this together, and we have a lot of sympathy with the Ukrainian people, and we want to do whatever we can to help.
So, pretty interesting footage. And the Russian speaking community in Finland is appealing Finland's closure of the border with Russia. The Russian speaking society in Finland, the Alexander Society, is collecting documents to file an appeal regarding the decision of the Finnish authorities to close the border with Russia. Finland's Supreme Administrative Court refused to hear the appeal against the government's closure decision, so options for challenging it domestically have been exhausted. The appeal is scheduled to be filed at the end of May 2024. Russian channels have already claimed that Finland could be the next Ukraine because of the U.S. influence and the troop development of the NATO member. And Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu has ordered an increase in weapons production with the goal of delivering weaponry to the front quicker, Russia's defense ministry said yesterday. And Ukraine is working to limit satellite mapping of Ukrainian territory amid concerns of intelligence leaks that would benefit Russian forces, Ukraine's defense ministry announced yesterday. And there were 3 separate Russian troop concentrations that were struck by Ukrainian HIMARS with cluster munitions deep in the rear in occupied Luhansk region, about 100 kilometers from the front line. That's insane, guys. That's 60 miles behind the front line. 3 separate Russian troop concentrations were struck by Ukraine with cluster munitions from the HIMARS ATACMS. Apparently, they used the DPICM cluster munition missiles. And the Israeli Defense Force chief toured the Lebanese border yesterday, saying that the Israeli military is preparing for an offensive in Lebanon. And Israel warned the Biden administration that if the International Criminal Court issues arrest warrants against Israeli leaders, it will take retaliatory steps against the Palestinian Authority that could lead to its collapse. And CBS reported that the Biden administration is considering resettling people in Gaza to the United States. Colombia's president said he would cut diplomatic relations with Israel. And Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, was fear-mongering in Saudi Arabia yesterday, saying that if a ceasefire deal in Gaza is not reached soon, then relations with Saudi Arabia will be seriously damaged. He said if there is not a hostage deal and a prolonged ceasefire soon, it will not be possible to reach normalization with Saudi Arabia. The time window is narrow and limited. Action in Rafah will harm the promotion of normalization. So Blinken making his rounds across the Middle East, trying to pressure Israel not to go into Rafah. And Ecuador's president, Daniel Noboa, declared a state of emergency in the country's 5 coastal provinces due to what he called an internal armed conflict. And the Taiwan Army Coastal Missile Unit successfully test-fired an Avenger Stinger missile on a hypothetical Chinese target. And China's 3rd and most advanced aircraft carrier, named the Fujian, has begun sea trials. Okay. Now, we also had major breaking news come out that the U.S. State Department is now accusing Russia of using chemical weapons against Ukrainian forces, specifically chloropicrin. Okay. So very, very serious, guys. Okay. The U.S. State Department officially accusing Russia of using chemical weapons in violation of the Chemical Weapons Treaty. And so the State Department announced that they were going to be sanctioning 300 entities in Russia now as a result of that. And before I go, I just want to mention Steve Quayle, if you guys don't know who he is, check him out. He's been helping me out a lot lately by sharing out my videos, and he's been talking very highly of me on the Hagman report. So thank you very much, Steve Quayle. I really appreciate all the kind words, and I appreciate you sharing me out. And Steve Quayle was actually one of the few people that came to my defense 2 weeks ago when people were bashing me about the culinary night, and they were saying that it was an exercise and that I was just making everything up so I could get views and clicks. And Steve Quayle was one of the few who came to my support. So thank you very much, Steve. I really appreciate it. And I will be back later on today with more breaking news. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. But just make sure you guys are getting prepared. I know things have quieted down in the last couple of days since the Iran-Israel situation and since the culinary incident, but that doesn't mean that things are over. Okay. Basically, we are just in the pause phase. Okay. Events and wars happen in waves. Okay. So you have your big wave, and then you have a pause, and then the next wave comes, and then you have a pause. Okay. So we're in the pause period right now, and another big wave is coming. When that wave hits, I have no idea. Okay, but it's just like swimming at the beach. Okay, I do believe we're going to see a massive escalation soon in Eastern Europe. Okay, I believe we're going to see a color revolution in Georgia soon. I think we're going to see Ukraine strike Crimea in a strategic way, potentially take out the Crimean Bridge. I believe that Russia is going to make huge advances in eastern Ukraine this year, and that's going to push NATO over the edge. And NATO may decide to do very risky things to try to halt Russia's progress, because NATO has invested so much in helping Ukraine, and now Russia is breaking through in multiple areas. They've taken a dozen towns or so in the last month near Avdiivka. They're advancing very quickly. And of course, we have to keep an eye on the Baltics and Poland, because something is brewing over there too. Russia started jamming Polish civilian ships that are going into one of Poland's main ports. Okay. So, and lots of exercises going on there. NATO's doing a ton of exercises in the Baltic, in the Nordic countries. So we have to keep an eye on Eastern Europe, the Baltic Sea area, the Nordic countries, Poland, okay? But I will be back later on with more breaking news. So until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.